Hey everybody, back again with another battle report, number 16 if I'm not mistaken. And this time it was going to be my newly formed Legion of Chaos versus a Skaven army. And for this battle, we're using our Paca list. So if you're going to Paca, you get a first glimpse on what we're taking and bringing. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. So for Paca, it's 2,000 points, and they are using 50% Lords and Heroes. You can use all sorts of combined armies. You just can't use the Cane Magic, and you can't use Chaos Ascendance rules. But here is a huge Skaven horde at 2,000 points. From the left to the right, you Plague Monks, a Vermin Lord. There's a Warp Lightning Cannon. I think he has Clan Rants. And then I believe it's slaves, Doomwheel, and up front are a bunch of Gutter Runners. All those drops. I only have like 4 or 5 in my entire army. So when you see all of this down, you kind of just go, wow, all of that actually fits in 2,000 points. The Vermin Lord is really cool in this army because you don't play against Vermin Lords very often, so I thought this was a really, really cool choice nonetheless. Here you're going to see his right flank, and right there it's the Plague Monks? Yeah, Plague Monks. And they have the banner that lets them hit and reroll misses. Now, Paca is closed list, so I'm just going to kind of do this off the cuff, and if you remember it and I see Paca, then so be it. Behind it is the Warp Lightning Cannon, which of course I fear because you'll see what's in my list in a little bit, but I don't like cannons. And then the Vermin Lord. It's such a cool thing to play against the Vermin Lord. I mean, it's so wicked awesome because it's like a greater demon running around with spells. So for once a Skaven player is actually nervous, picking up 6 dice and chucking Dreaded 13th at you. And then behind that, I swear those are Clan Rats with all of his heroes in it, but he really only has a BSB and a Lord left, so it's not too scary, but scary enough if I get to crack it. His center right here is slaves. Now you'll notice that attached to, I believe it's the Clan Rats, and Skaven rules always jack me up, but he put in a Warp Lightning Thrower, and at a certain point of the game, you'll know what happens, but he's like, I could have took 2 Warp Lightning Cannons, but I thought I'd make it fun, so I put the Flyer Thrower in there to have a good time with everything. And then, you know, the normal Skaven way of slaves. I think they're all bricks of 50, 45, 50. I've never seen Skaven players really go less than that, but when you're playing at 2,000 points, and I had so much trouble getting things into 2,000 points, and to see somebody go, here's my unit of slaves, here's my unit of slaves, here's my unit of slaves, you just kind of go, well, all right then. I guess that's going to be pretty cool to see. So yeah, and then we're going to move on to his left flank. And over here on his left flank, he has a Doomwheel, and I'm always freaked out about Doomwheels just because of the randomness of them, but it's that cannon shot that it has that's just so nerve-wracking, especially when I have Minotaurs. So here's my left flank. This is my Soul Grinder, and my Soul Grinder is going to have Baleful Torrent on it, and I put it all the way on the left flank, and I did that because I wanted to, he had me out dropped, and I needed to put over there to prevent against Gutter Runners, but I needed the ability to run it up the side there, and what I was hoping to be able to do was to get on the flanks and just start dropping flame cannons left and right on them. And I figured if I would drop all those flame cannons, it would do lots of wounds, and you never know with Skaven, maybe they would run away, maybe he gets outside of his leadership bubble. It's a real silly mistake that a Skaven player could make, but you never know. And besides, being toughness 7, I'm not really worried about any of the strength of his guys over there when they go to hit, because I just don't think they'll do anything to a Soul Grinder. So there is the left flank. My center is a little bit more condensed. You see there that I have my unit that I'm working on, and they're being painted up for more Demonettes. but that's 25 demonettes, and all it is a banner. And then I have 20 demonettes. Again, all it is a banner. And then I have 5 minotaurs and a doom bull. Now, I'm not going to go over exactly the kit out of my doom bull, but basically he's a nightmare combat-y kill you type of dude. You know what? I will tell you what it is. He basically has the ram horn. He's got a 1-up rerollable, and I didn't give him a great weapon or anything, and he has ASF. So my whole goal is to get the Doom Bull in with the Minotaurs and let them put in work. And I did the Minotaurs with nothing really else, because if I do face elves in the Banner of the World Dragon, I need to be able to kill them. And then my right flank, the Demon Prince of Slaanesh, and it's a Warriors of Chaos Demon Prince. Again, I have another model for it. It's getting used right now, so I just put up my Bloodthirster for this game. And the entire army is marked Slaanesh. Now, for those of you that aren't aware of what a Warrior of Chaos, the magic phase, does, when you cast your spells, basically, for any wound I do, I pick up those wounds, I roll the dice on a 6, I get an extra attack. The whole purpose of this army is basically to stick things in, fly big scary characters into fortitude giving units and wipe them out. I don't care about the other person's heroes, these monsters of Paca. I'm trying to take out fortitude. And a flying demon prince is, generally speaking, very good at doing that. So we go to roll, and of course I don't get to go first, even though I have no drops. And the Skaven come marching in. Huzzah. So he comes barreling in, and he moves the gutter runners up, and he knows that my demon prince has got a charm shield on it. I mean, you don't have to tell somebody a demon prince has got a charm shield, because if you don't have it, then what the heck's going on? But he has the charm shield, so he moves it in a position to pink it off, but his doom wheel only moves like 7 inches forward. And so when he moves it forward, I'm like, yes, no zappy zap zap to me. And the rest of his army piles forward. He moves the Vermin Lord up, and I'm just like, God bless it. I always forget that this Vermin Lord, he moves very fast, and he's got 13th on him. So it's always a nightmare scenario to think what this Vermin Lord's going to do. It puts the fear in me like my keeper puts into people with Cacophonic running up at you as fast as possible. So we pop on over to the magic phase, and he rolls a 5, and then I believe he channels 1. So I wonder what 6 dice can buy a Skaven player with a Vermin Lord. Maybe a dreaded 13th? Huh? And I only did the 2 6-sided dice there because he does do dreaded 13th. He does dreaded 13th, and he gets it off irresistibly. Now I'm actually kind of happy, though, because I'm like, maybe the Vermin Lord will get sucked down the hole. That's a good thing, right? Bye-bye, Vermin Lord. Maybe. Please go away. Please. Oh, they looked like such big, strong demonettes, don't they? And then there were 3. He picked up his dice, and he rolled 17 dead demonettes. I don't even know what to say to that. It's like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. All right, goodbye. See you later. So there are 3 demonettes. I have a standard left. At least they're not completely toasts. Gotta take your victories where you can get them, right? So at least I have a miscast to look forward to, and he rolls a 6. God. He didn't get stuck down the hole, but I think he takes a wound. I'm not quite sure. I don't remember. I think he did. Maybe not. Maybe he saved it, but after we do that little miscast, we get into the pew-pew phase. So he pulls out his gutter runners, lines up my demon prince with his charm shield, of course, because I'm a bad player, and he pew-pews. He puts a couple of hits on, he gets a couple poison off, and I'm like, well, there's my charm shield. I roll it, I pass it. I'm like, yes, it worked. And then there's like one other poison attack, and yeah, I rolled a 1 on my armor save. And then I failed my ward save. I mean, I took a stupid wound from a freaking gutter runner. This is horrible. You only got 4 wounds left. So bad. Ugh. Crap. But I will live on, I hope. Well, at least I think. Now that he has pinked off my charm shield, he looks at his cannon and he's like, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do this. I'm like, oh no! The stupid thing, the charm shield's supposed to last longer than this. So he takes perfect aim at my demon prince over in the corner, and he shoots! But I think he rolled like a strength 10, but I rolled a 5. And all is right in the world, because Mighty Casey has struck out. And that's all that matters. He missed. Woo! The day is saved! The day is saved. And my 4-leaf clover that I keep in my back pocket saved me once again from Skaven horribleness. Which was going to bring us to my turn. Which brings us to bottom of turn 1, so turn 1B. And I move forward. This isn't an army that's not going to push forward. You'll see some things have happened. I charged my demon prince at his gutter runners, and they fled from them, from him. And when they fled forever. And so they went through a bunch of units, and that's why you see them way out there by where the cannon is. And I redirected my demon prince, and I had a super large charge against the doom wheel. I was kind of like one of those things where I had to make it or not. And I rolled high enough. So I made it. Whoop, whoop. Did like a 10, I think, to make it, and 3d6. Sometimes you get lucky and sometimes you don't. That time I got lucky. I pushed the Minotaurs up with the Doom Bowl. I turned the actual 3 Demonettes back. I'm going to go hide them in a corner now if I get a chance. And I kind of just moved the Demonettes up real slow. And I put the Soul Grinder up so that I could start flaming down his lines. There you see more of a different angle. And here is some combat for you guys. And I'm hoping to do quite well here. During the magic phase, I get 6 dice. I really don't do anything with Cacophonic Choir, which is totally crazy. But I do decide to cast Cack. What? Here it goes. Bubble Cack. So I bubble cack the crap out of them. And it does a ton of stuff, which is awesome. So I do a bunch. And then of all the wounds I do, I rolled a bunch of 6s. That's just some of them. And now my Demon Prince has 10 attacks, I believe now. I rolled just a ton of 6s. It was amazing. And then you can see the casualties. There's no more Doom Wheel anymore. Here we go. So in the shooting phase, I line up his Plague Monks, and I go ahead and shoot right down him, which was super epic. Yeah. So after all those casualties, that moves us into turn 2. And unfortunately, because I'm spazzed, I completely forgot to take pictures of the Skaven movement phase, the charges, anything to do with it up into magic. But here's what happened. You can go back a couple of slides if you want, but his Plague Monks and his Vermin Lord attempted to charge the 25 Demonettes, and he failed both charges. So, yeah! No, I'm just kidding. Basically, he missed, so he just kind of came forward a little bit, and he was kind of definitely bummed about that, but he's Skaven, so suck it. And go into his magic phase, and he rolls a 6, yet again for magic, which means it's probably going to hit me again. So I'm not looking forward to that whatsoever. But nothing actually happens. He fails to cast. And he goes into shooting phase. There's the Warp Lightning Cannon, and you know what he's aiming at. That's right, his good friend, the Warriors of Chaos Demon Prince. He picks up a dice, rolls a 4, and I'm like, here we go. He picks up a dice, and oh my god! It's a misfire. Whoop whoop! And now that he's misfired with his Warp Fire Cannon, he's going to go ahead and shoot his Warp Lightning Cannon. He's going to shoot with the Warp Fire Thrower. He's got, I think what he's aiming at is my big unit of Demonettes there, or maybe the Minotaurs. He goes and rolls a misfire on this too. Yay! Everything is right in the Legion of Chaos world. Whoop whoop! Yeah! With another misfire, and I have no idea what this crap does, but he picks up a dice, rolls it, and rolls a 5. So apparently in the miss chart of a 5 or miscast or misfire chart, what is going to happen is the warp fire thrower is going to move in a random direction and blow up. So he moves in his random direction. You can see it there. That's the fuck you dice. So that's a 6. So 10 inches straight across his lines. And when he moves straight across his lines, he misses all of his units, but it ends up in the corner of 2 of his units of clan rats. Slaves, excuse me. So the slaves are going to get blasted, and of course they do get blasted, and that ends his turn, which brings us to the bottom of turn 2. 2B! So, on to my movement phase and charges. So I charged the Minotaurs straight up into his slaves, and then I kind of have a decision to make. I left the Soul Grinder where it was, I moved the Demonites back, and I put my Demon Prince in the center of everything, thinking I'd roll enough dice to do a bubble cack, kill the Vermin Lord, and just do a ton of damage, and hopefully not have to worry about that cannon, or at least make it misfire one more time. But of course, in the magic phase, I roll a 3. Not so great. So when I pop off my Cacophonic Choir at his Vermin Lord, that guy right there, I'm like, yes, single target, here it comes, and I rolled that. And that is not going to get it done, ladies and gentlemen. So I gambled with the Cacophonic, the Bubble Cack, and it completely fails me. So I moved to the Soul Grinder for shooting, and I line up his Plague Monks one more time. You can see the template right there. And so I pick up the artillery die, and I roll a 10. At first I thought that I was going to overshoot it, and I thought, oh, this is so bad, so bad. But it wasn't as horrible as I thought. It actually put the template so it pretty much covered his entire unit. And you can see there, that's the template. Those are his guys, and that is good for me, bad for rats, because this is still a strength 5 attack. And I rolled a ton of dice, and you can see right here, I took a picture of it, and I don't think I missed with 1. And he was like, you've got to be kidding me. And I'm like, yeah, the dice are on fire in fuego. So yeah, good shooting phase for me. And after all that's said and done, these are the amount of Plague Monks that are in fact left. And I'm pretty satisfied that they're not a fighting force anymore. So that looks like the end of Monks of Plague. So we move over into hand-to-hand combat, and this is the Minotaurs against the Slaves with the Doom Bull, and they put in what you think, just tons of work here. I just start wrecking face with the impact hits of the Minotaurs and the Doom Bull, and then the stomps, and I just didn't miss here. And of course, he breaks. There's nothing he can do, but I think he was outside of his generals, the bubble, his leadership bubble. But he rolled like snake eyes or something. Whatever the Skaven do, they did. They blew up. I have Blood Greed, so I only get the D6 to pursue, so I run forward, and that brings us into turn 3. Yay! Turn 3! So in turn 3 for his movement, he goes ahead and charges a unit of slaves into my Demon Prince, thinking he's just going to hold it up for a long time. He doesn't want to charge the Minotaurs, and I don't blame him whatsoever. And he starts moving the Vermin Lord over closer to my Demon Prince so he can get some of that off. He didn't move the Plague Monks at all, and why would you? Because the Soul Grinder's right there. But because he's in combat with the slaves, I'm going to get cannon shot after cannon shot. In the magic phase, he goes ahead, and I think that's an 8 there. I'm sorry for the blurry picture, but he rolls an 8, so it is what it is. And there's his cannon, as per usual, lining me up. You can see there's my greater demon, or my Demon Prince just getting ready to get smacked. There's the 10 for the first amount of distance, and then he goes ahead and he rolls another 10. I'm so screwed right here. I failed my ward save. I didn't fail my ward save. He rolled a 1 to wound, so whoosh, boy, am I lucky. Still standing. Whoop whoop. So you're probably wondering why there's pictures of dice here. Well, I'm a horrible battle reporter, and I forgot to take pictures of the hand-to-hand combat that is to proceed here. And anyway, I kill some slaves, and he does nothing to my Demon Prince. Say Sarah, Sarah. And that's the end of it. So yeah, my turn next. Yeah, team good guys. Yeah. Okay, so here's where the game kind of gets, it's kind of like an all or nothing type of game here. And that's how I figured I have to play my Legions of Chaos army. I'm going to have to push things I'm normally not comfortable doing. So I charged the Doom Bull out of the Minotaurs into the side of the slaves. I also charge my Demonettes into the front of those slaves to give myself ranks. I'm thinking that I'm going to do a ton of wounds with the Doom Bull, the Demon Prince, the Thunder Stomps, the Stomps, even some of the Demonettes can put in work. Hopefully I can have more ranks than he will, causing them to blow up, and that'll be the end of it. And then I can just, overrun or go through them and not have to worry about that Vermin Lord. Even if I do, I don't know how scared I am of a Vermin Lord to begin with, to be perfectly honest with you. So it is what it is, and that's what I'm going to go with. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. But you can see here in the rest of the movement phase, because I charged the Minotaurs, the Doom Bull out, the Minotaurs are stuck exactly where they're at. And then I go ahead and I move the Soul Grinder up, because I'm not worried about those Plague Monks anymore, and I want to try to get a Flame Cannon across his bunker unit that has his General and his BSB in it. I know this is a long shot. I know that mathematically it's not going to happen, but weirder things have happened in games of Warhammer. I would love for him to roll like an 11 twice on 2 dice and have his General and everything just run off the table. Would love for it to happen. I know that it's highly unlikely, but it is what it is. And if you notice that there's the 3 Demonettes, they're in the corner of the table now, just hanging out in a corner. I guess claiming a table quarter if there is such a thing in Paca. I have no idea. I haven't looked at the scenarios. I don't even follow my own tournament building advice sometimes. So yeah, this is all my movement. So here is a close-up of the combat that's getting ready to happen. And you can see my new bases that I'm working on. I'm really trying hard. The hobby aspect, we'll see how I pull this off later. But all this is coming in. There's my scary Doom Bull. Now that we've got combat and movement done, we just go into Magic. I roll an 8. I try to bubble cack, and I think I failed to cast it, if I'm not mistaken. Or no, he dispels it. So I 6 dice it. I don't irresistible. It doesn't go off. He stops it with his 6 dice. And I go ahead and I throw Acquiescence on the Vermin Lord because I need to. I mean, just in case I'm a couple inches away, there's still a chance that he completely misses it. So having an Always Strikes Last Vermin Lord is a lot better than an ASF one. So here we go with shooting phase, and I nail my flame template right across there, and it's pretty reliable most of the time. I really feel that. And I peel off a bunch of rats, which is good. So the slaves, obviously, they just get blowed up. I mean, I blew them up. Blowed up. And, yeah, so I'm going to overrun and be in another position, but I didn't take a picture of it. And that will take us into turn 4, his turn 4. So here we go. So we go to his turn 4, and I apologize now for pictures in this battle report because I was watching the Dallas-Detroit game, and I was forgetting to take pictures, I'm not going to lie. I was busy watching the game while we were playing Warhammer, drinking beer. But here's what happens. He moves his Plague Monks, he charges Plague Monks into the Soul Grinder, his Vermin Lord randomly moves into the side of my Demonettes, and he charges his bunker unit with his BSB and his General into the front of my Demonettes. I now know that my Demonettes are completely screwed because I don't get to roll anymore. Because I'm Legions of Chaos, they basically crumble. And I know for a fact I might kill some rats, but that Vermin Lord is just going to put in major work on me. So, it is what it is. But we go to Magic, and he rolls a 3. He cracks Call the Soul Grinder, and I save it. So, and I get flipped off for my troubles of saving it. So, he can suck a dick! So we go into the shooting phase, and he lines up his cannon again at my Demon Prince, and again I'm like, God, this freaking guy, will he ever leave my poor Demon Prince alone? And the answer to your question is, no, he will not. He actually hits this time, but he only puts like a wound on it. My Demon Prince is running around with like 2 wounds on him right now. It's just dead man walking. Whatever. It is what it is. We move into combat, and I told you the Vermin Lord was going to put in some major work. Him and his Lord, they just... so many wounds with the Thundersteps. I made a bunch of saves. Oh, excuse me. But at the end of it, God, I'm stuttering. He just couldn't do enough wounds to pop the whole unit. So they're just going to sit there, and we'll move over to the Soul Grinders combat, and he slips a wound through the Soul Grinder, a wound with all those guys re-rolling their hits and all their misses and all this stuff, just the wounds, and then my soul grinder goes to hit. I do like one hit, I do one wound, and then I thunderstomp to win combat. So I felt pretty good about it, or at least good about myself. But yeah, that's the end of combat for him, which brings it to bottom of 4, and this should be the last turn if everything goes my way. So we go into my turn, and I charge the Minotaurs into his slaves right there. And my Doom Bull is sitting there, and I don't think I could make the charge of where I was at because I killed so many guys. So I moved my Doom Bull over so that I could at least get into some of this stuff here. And I moved my Demon Prince in a position that if I bubble cack, that should end the game. Here's a little bit better of a picture of the combat here. I mean, 5 Minotaurs against the flank of slaves. This should easily pop them. And here we're kind of still, honestly, we're going between the football game, beer, and looking at it just going, oh my goodness, can it be held up or what? And so I slide in the magic phase. I rolled, I can't remember what number I rolled, but I went ahead and I was just like, well, here's for the game, buddy. Here's a little bubble cack. And he was like, yep, here it comes. And so I roll it, and he can't dispel it. I don't know if I irresistible or not. But it wipes out his cannon, his Vermin Lord. I spike everything else. He didn't even pick up the slaves because he was like, dude, the Minotaurs killed it. My Soul Grinder finished off his Plague Monks. My phone started to die where I was taking the pictures on. But this is where we were at, and he was like, do you want to finish or not? And I was like, well, next turn you're getting a Soul Grinder, a Demon Prince, and a Doom Bull in your face, plus, you know, the Demonette. I think his turn he finished off the Demonettes, and this is what it was at. But yeah, like my Demonettes are gone, but I have my Minotaurs. Just so much stuff. It's definitely going to be a rough going for him. But anyway, yeah, this is how our Paca prep went. I think I would have killed everything, but he had that last unit I think left, just the one in the middle with his Lord BSB when we decided to call it. Alright, so a win for the Legion of Chaos. That would be me. The Orchard, Randy. It was hard fought for sure. Is this army ready for Paca? I'll be honest, I don't know. I'm ready to go to Paca. It's just so far and taking mins and models, and I just don't think this army's going to do any good at Paca. I just can't see it. I've seen some of the stuff that people are bringing, and it's just, whatever. It's more about drinking beer, having fun with the fellas. Anyway, so this list will be fine. I assume that I may go 3-3 with this, or 3-2 with this list, but I will definitely be taking some pictures and putting them up when I get back. See y'all later.